Do you know why every wealthy Jewish family I have ever known treats the telephone like a sacred object? Not because of the technology, not because of the brand, because of what comes out of your mouth when you pick it up. I am going to reveal something to you today that most people will never hear in their entire lives. In my 32 years of studying Talmudic wealth principles, in my decades of sitting with some of the most prosperous Jewish families across New York, Tel Aviv, and London, I have discovered that the single fastest way to destroy your wealth has nothing to do with bad investments, nothing to do with the economy, and nothing to do with your education. It has everything to do with how you answer the phone. And I know that sounds almost ridiculous right now. You are probably thinking, Rabbi, what does a phone call have to do with my bank account? By the end of this video, you will understand exactly why the words you speak in the first 3 seconds of any phone call either open the gates of abundance or slam them shut for weeks, sometimes months. I am going to teach you the exact method that Jewish millionaires have used for generations to protect their energy, their wealth, and their spiritual frequency every single time they communicate. And the secret I will share toward the end of this video is so powerful that most rabbis would never discuss it publicly. But I believe you found this video for a reason, and that reason is that you are ready to hear the truth. I grew up in a home where money was not a mystery. My grandfather, may his memory be a blessing, was a textile merchant who built his fortune from absolutely nothing after arriving in America with less than $40 in his pocket. But here is what made him different from every other immigrant who arrived with nothing. He understood something that the Talmud had been teaching for over 3,000 years. He understood that wealth is not created by your hands. Wealth is created by your mouth. I remember one evening after Shabbat. I was maybe 14 years old. My grandfather pulled me into his study, closed the door, and looked at me with those deep, serious eyes. He told me that the most dangerous weapon a man possesses is not a gun, not a knife, not even his fist. It is his tongue. He told me that every word that leaves your mouth carries energy, carries frequency, carries creative power. Everything I am teaching you in this video is only the beginning. If you are serious about applying these ancient Jewish wealth principles to your life, I wrote a book called The Ancient Wealth Code. It contains the complete system, all 10 principles that Jewish families have used for 3,000 years to build, protect, and pass down wealth from generation to generation. This is not theory. This is the exact playbook. It is available right now in the description below and pinned in the first comment. Go get your copy today because knowledge without action is worthless. And that the wealthiest Jewish families in history all knew one thing that the rest of the world ignored. They knew that how you speak determines what you attract. That night changed my life forever. I did not understand it fully at 14, but by the time I was 23, I was broke, struggling, working 2 jobs, barely making rent. I had tried everything the world told me to try. I read the business books, I followed the financial advice, I worked harder and longer than anyone I knew. Nothing worked. Then I remembered what my grandfather told me. I started paying attention to how I spoke. Specifically, I started paying attention to how I answered the phone. And within 90 days, everything changed. Opportunities started appearing. People called me with offers I had never expected. Money began flowing from directions I could not have predicted. That is when I knew this was not just philosophy. This was real. This was ancient science, encoded in sacred text. The Talmud teaches in Tractate Berachot that the tongue has the power of life and death, and those who love it will eat its fruit. This is not metaphor. This is spiritual law. The ancient rabbis understood that every word you speak sends a vibration into the universe, and that vibration either attracts prosperity or repels it. There is no neutral ground. Every time you open your mouth, you are either building your future or destroying it, and nowhere is this more dangerous than when you answer the phone. Write in the comments right now the words, "I am worthy of abundance." Write it, because the moment you type those words, you are already beginning to shift your frequency. Now let me be direct with you. I know exactly what you are going through right now. I know because I have sat across from thousands of people just like you over the past 3 decades. You work hard, you sacrifice, you do everything you are supposed to do, and yet the money never seems to be enough. The opportunities always seem to go to someone else. You feel like there is an invisible wall between you and the life you deserve. I know that feeling because I lived it. And I can tell you with absolute certainty that the problem is not your effort. The problem is not your intelligence. The problem is not the economy. The problem is your frequency. And your frequency is being destroyed by 3 things that almost everyone does wrong. The first is answering the phone with complaint. When someone calls you and the first words out of your mouth are about how tired you are, how busy you are, how stressed you are, you have just announced to the universe that you are a vessel of scarcity. You have just broadcast on a spiritual frequency that says, I am not ready for more. The second mistake is answering the phone with desperation. When someone calls with an opportunity and you immediately sound too eager, too hungry, too willing to accept anything, you have just told the universe that you do not believe you deserve abundance. The Talmud teaches that desperation repels blessing the same way a strong wind blows out a small flame. The third mistake is the most destructive of all. It is answering the phone with negativity about others. When you pick up the phone and immediately start speaking about what someone else did wrong, about how unfair something is, about how someone cheated you or betrayed you, you have just poisoned your own well. You are drinking from the cup of bitterness and expecting it to taste like wine. Here is the lie you have been told your entire life. The world tells you that how you communicate on the phone is just casual conversation. It does not matter. It is just talking. That is one of the most dangerous lies ever told. In my 32 years of studying ancient Jewish wisdom, I can tell you that every single prosperous family I have ever encountered treats communication as a sacred act. They understand what the Kabbalah calls the power of speech creation, the idea that God created the entire universe through words. He spoke, and it was. And because you are made in the image of the Creator, your words carry that same creative power. On a smaller scale, obviously, but the principle is identical. What you speak, you create. What you declare, you attract. What you confess with your mouth, you manifest in your life. The ancient rabbis codified this into specific, actionable practices that anyone can use regardless of religion, regardless of background. Everything I am teaching you in this video is only the beginning. If you are serious about applying these ancient Jewish wealth principles to your life, I wrote a book called The Ancient Wealth Code. It contains the complete system, all 10 principles that Jewish families have used for 3,000 years to build, protect, and pass down wealth from generation to generation. This is not theory. This is the exact playbook. It is available right now in the description below and pinned in the first comment. Go get your copy today because knowledge without action is worthless. I have personally witnessed people transform their entire financial lives simply by changing how they speak on the phone. Business owners who went from struggling to thriving. Employees who got promotions they never expected. Entrepreneurs who attracted investors seemingly out of thin air. Every single one of them followed the exact method I am about to teach you. Now let me introduce you to what I call the sacred communication method. This is not something I invented. This is something that has been practiced by wealthy Jewish families for centuries. It is rooted in Talmudic principles, refined by Kabbalistic understanding, and proven by thousands of years of real results. This is not a game. This is not something you do casually or treat as a cute little life hack. This involves real spiritual forces, real energy, and real consequences. The ancient rabbis did not just philosophize about this. They discovered it, tested it, documented it, and passed it down through generations with the same seriousness that a scientist documents a proven formula. I am simply the messenger. I am passing down what was given to me so that you can use it to transform your life. What makes this method different from anything you have heard before is 5 things. First, it works at the spiritual level, not just the physical. You are not just changing words, you are changing frequency. Second, it has been proven for over 3,000 years. This is not a trend, this is eternal law. Third, it requires your active participation. You cannot just listen and nod. You must apply. Fourth, results come fast when you commit fully. I have seen changes within days. And fifth, you do not need to be Jewish to use this. The spiritual laws that govern abundance are universal. They work for anyone who aligns with them. The Talmud teaches in Tractate Megillah that whoever answers wisely is considered a wise person even among scholars. You are not just changing a habit. You are aligning yourself with laws that already exist, laws that have been governing wealth and prosperity since the beginning of time. Let me now walk you through the preparation. This is important. Do not skip this. Before you even think about changing how you answer the phone, you need to prepare your mind and your spirit. The best time to begin this practice is early in the morning, before the noise of the world gets to you. When you wake up, before you check your phone, before you read any messages, before you scroll through any news, you need to sit in silence for at least 3 minutes and set a clear intention. You say to yourself, today, every word that leaves my mouth will be a word of power, a word of abundance, a word of blessing. You breathe deeply, you calm your nervous system, you remind yourself that you are not just a physical being going through the motions, you are a spiritual being with creative power in your tongue, and then you trust the process. Trust is essential. The Talmud teaches that blessing only rests on that which is hidden from the eye, meaning you will not always see the results immediately, but they are working beneath the surface the moment you begin. Now let me share with you the 4 elements you need to master. The first element is what I call the opening declaration. This is the most critical part. When your phone rings, you do not just pick it up and say hello in whatever emotional state you happen to be in. No, you take 1 breath before you answer, 1 single breath. In that breath, you reset your energy, you choose your frequency, and then you answer with strength, with warmth, with authority, not arrogance. Authority. There is a massive difference. The Kabbalistic teaching behind this is that breath carries the divine spark. When you breathe consciously before speaking, you are inviting divine energy into your words. I have witnessed people change their business results within 2 weeks simply by adding this 1 breath before answering every call. The second element is what I call the abundance greeting. Jewish millionaires never answer the phone by talking about problems. Never. The first words out of their mouth are always positive, always forward-looking, always life-affirming. Something like, "Great to hear from you," or "What a perfect time to connect." These are not empty pleasantries. These are declarations. You are declaring to the universe that this call is a blessing, that this connection is valuable, that abundance is already present. The energetic properties of positive first words are documented extensively in Kabbalistic texts. The Zohar teaches that the first words spoken in any interaction set the spiritual tone for everything that follows. Get the opening wrong, and the entire conversation carries a frequency of lack. Get the opening right, and you have created a container for blessing. The third element is what I call the listening stance. Wealthy Jewish families taught their children something that most people never learn. They taught them that listening is more profitable than speaking. When you are on the phone, the person who listens with genuine attention and speaks with precision is the person who controls the outcome. The Talmud says in Pirkei Avot that the wise person speaks little and does much. On the phone, This translates to asking better questions, listening more deeply, and responding with intention rather than reaction. Every time you react emotionally on a phone call, you leak energy, you leak power, you leak wealth. The fourth element is what I call the closing blessing. This is the one that most people will never do because they think it is strange or unnecessary. But every Jewish millionaire I have ever known ends important calls with a blessing. Not a religious prayer necessarily, but a genuine expression of goodwill. Something like, "I hope this brings great results for both of us," or "May this conversation lead to something wonderful." When you close a call with a blessing, you are sealing the interaction with positive energy. You are telling the universe that this exchange was valuable and that you expect good to come from it. The Talmud teaches that a blessing spoken sincerely never returns empty. Now here is the exact procedure. Step 1. When your phone rings, do not answer immediately. Let it ring once while you take one conscious breath. In that breath, you set your intention. You choose abundance. You choose strength. You choose clarity. Step 2. Answer with your abundance greeting. Make it genuine. Make it warm. Make it powerful. No complaints, no tiredness, no negativity. Your first words are seeds. Plant good ones. Step 3. Within the first 30 seconds of the call, ask a question rather than making a statement. This shifts you into the listening stance. It gives you power because the person asking questions is always the person in control. Step 4. Throughout the call, monitor your language. If you catch yourself about to complain, stop. If you catch yourself about to gossip, stop. If you catch yourself about to express desperation, stop. Replace each negative impulse with a neutral or positive statement. Step 5. Before you hang up, deliver your closing blessing. It does not have to be long. It does not have to be religious. It simply has to be genuine and positive. You are sealing the energy of the conversation. Step 6. After you hang up, take one more conscious breath. This is the reset. You are clearing any residual energy from the call and returning to your baseline frequency of abundance. This breath is your spiritual reset button. Step 7. If the call was negative, if someone brought you bad news or was hostile or draining, you immediately speak a counter-declaration out loud. You say something like, "That energy is not mine. I release it. I remain in abundance." This is not wishful thinking. This is spiritual hygiene. The Kabbalah teaches that negative words spoken to you can attach to your energy field if you do not consciously release them. Now, everything I have shared with you today is powerful, but I want to be honest with you. This is just a fraction of the complete system. In the ancient wealth code, I lay out all 10 principles step by step, principle by principle. What you have learned in this video is 2 of those 10 principles. The remaining 8 go even deeper, and some of them are the most transformative teachings I have ever shared. The link is in the description and pinned in the first comment. If this video has opened your eyes, the book will change your life. Let me tell you what to expect when you start applying this. Within the first 24 hours, you will notice something subtle but real. You will feel more in control. Your conversations will feel different. People will respond to you differently without knowing why. You might feel a slight tingling or warmth when you practice the conscious breath before answering. That is your energy shifting. Within 3 to 7 days, you will start seeing tangible results. Phone calls that lead to unexpected opportunities. People reaching out to you with offers or ideas that seem to come from nowhere. A feeling of flow and ease in your daily interactions that was not there before. Within 30 days, if you practice this consistently, your entire communication pattern will have transformed. And with it, your financial reality will begin to shift in ways that will surprise you. Trust the process. Do not try to control the outcome. Let the universe respond to your new frequency in its own timing. But I must give you serious warnings. The first warning is this: do not use this method to manipulate people. The moment you use sacred communication principles to deceive or take advantage of someone, the energy reverses on you with devastating force. I have seen this happen. I knew a man who learned these principles and used them to con investors out of their money. Within 18 months, he lost everything. Not just the money, his health, his family, his reputation. The Talmud is very clear about this. In Tractate Sanhedrin, it teaches that the measure with which you measure others will be measured upon you. Use these principles with integrity, or do not use them at all. The second warning is about consistency. You cannot practice this for 3 days and then go back to your old habits. The spiritual world responds to sustained intention, not temporary enthusiasm. If you start and stop, you create a frequency of instability. And instability repels wealth. Commit fully, or wait until you are ready to commit fully. The third warning involves your inner circle. When you begin this practice, you will quickly realize that some people in your life are poison to your frequency. They answer every call with complaints. They spread negativity like a virus. They gossip constantly. The Talmud warns in Pirkei Avot to distance yourself from a bad neighbor and do not associate with the wicked. You must protect your communication frequency. This may mean having uncomfortable conversations. It may mean distancing yourself from certain people. But your wealth depends on it. With great power comes great responsibility. There is a deeper Talmudic principle that took me years to fully understand. The Talmud teaches that the world was created with 10 utterances, not 10 actions, not 10 thoughts, 10 utterances, words, speech. This tells us something profound about the nature of reality itself. Reality is linguistic. Reality responds to language. When you change your language, you change your reality. This is not philosophy. This is the fundamental operating system of the universe as understood by the greatest Jewish minds in history. I went through a period in my late 30s when I drifted away from these practices. I got busy. I got complacent. I thought I had made it and did not need to be so intentional about my communication anymore. Within a year, my business partnerships started falling apart. Clients stopped calling. Opportunities dried up. It was not until a close friend reminded me of my grandfather's teachings that I returned to the practice. Within 60 days of recommitting, everything reversed. The calls came back. The opportunities returned. The abundance flowed again. Knowing is not enough. You have to do. I have witnessed accountants, teachers, small business owners, single mothers, retired professionals, all apply this method and experience genuine transformation. They did not have special connections. They did not have inherited wealth. They did not have advanced degrees in finance. They simply trusted the ancient wisdom and followed the instructions exactly as I taught them. And their lives changed. Now let me tell you why this matters more right now than perhaps any other time in recent history. We are living in a period of extraordinary economic uncertainty. Interest rates are volatile. Global markets are shifting in unpredictable ways. Just this year alone, we have seen major banks tighten lending, inflation continuing to squeeze household budgets, and job markets becoming increasingly unstable in sectors that were once considered safe. Artificial intelligence is displacing workers faster than anyone predicted. The cost of living continues to rise while wages remain flat for most people. In times like these, the ancient principles become more relevant than ever. When everything around you is chaos, these principles are your anchor. The Jewish people have survived and prospered through the Roman Empire, through the Spanish Inquisition, through pogroms, through the Holocaust, through every economic crisis in modern history. And they did it not because of luck. They did it because they held on to principles that are eternal and unshakable. The principles I am teaching you today are the same ones that carried Jewish families through the darkest moments in human history, and they will carry you through whatever storm you are facing right now. Let me summarize the 3 most important things you learned today. First, every word you speak carries creative power, and how you answer the phone either attracts wealth or destroys it. Second, the sacred communication method, which includes the conscious breath, the abundance greeting, the listening stance, and the closing blessing, is a proven system that aligns your frequency with prosperity. Third, consistency and integrity are not optional. They are the foundation upon which all abundance is built. You now have the exact method that wealthy Jewish families have used for generations. This is not theory. This is practical, proven wisdom rooted in 3,000 years of sacred tradition. You are not weak for seeking this knowledge. You are wise. The Talmud teaches that who is wise, the one who learns from every person. The fact that you watched this video to this point tells me something important about you. It tells me you are serious. It tells me you are a seeker of truth. It tells me you are ready to take action, and the Creator helps those who help themselves. This is a foundational teaching of Jewish wisdom. You have a choice right now. You can close this video and go back to answering the phone the same way you always have, complaining, reacting, leaking energy, and wondering why nothing changes. Or you can take what you learned today, apply it starting with your very next phone call, and watch your life begin to shift. The choice is yours, but choose wisely, because what you do in the next 24 hours will determine the direction of your next 24 months. Do not use this knowledge recklessly. Do not use it with wrong intention. The universe sees everything. Your motives are never hidden from the divine. Keep your intentions pure, follow the instructions exactly, and trust the process. If you found value in this video, subscribe to this channel. Every week, I share ancient Jewish wisdom and wealth secrets that most rabbis would never teach publicly. Turn on notifications so you never miss a teaching. Leave a comment below telling me which part of this video resonated most with you. Share this video with someone you love who needs to hear this message. And hit the like button so that more people can find this content and transform their lives. I want to close with a blessing over your life. May abundance flow to you from unexpected sources. May every phone call you receive from this day forward carry the energy of opportunity. May your words become instruments of creation and prosperity. May protection surround you and your family against every force that seeks to diminish your wealth. And may you walk in peace, in clarity, and in the unshakable confidence that comes from aligning your life with eternal principles. You are not a victim of circumstance. You are a co-creator with the divine. Use these ancient secrets wisely. Shalom.